Rick and Morty is one of my favorite shows on television, but I have some problems with its underlying philosophy. You might be thinking, it's just a cartoon, but no. Rick and Morty is not just a cartoon. Rick and Morty is one of the smartest shows on TV, yet it proposes a few terrible ideas and presents them as fact. Hi, I'm Gardiner, the Linux gamer, and we need to talk about this. Just so you know, there will be a few very small spoilers. If you haven't seen season 3, this is just a fair warning. We're all affected by ideas, some of us more than others. Religion, ideology, politics, philosophy, identity, just to name a few. Every day we use ideas as tools to interpret and understand the world. But some people use ideas as a crutch. It's kind of inescapable. We're human. Rick's philosophical affectation is nihilism, the idea that objectively nothing matters and all moral codes are therefore invalid. His intelligence seems all-encompassing, and he apparently has nothing to care about except Szechuan sauce and self-preservation. His extreme personification of nihilism is an emotional crutch, a cowardly way of not confronting his emotions. I say that because there are moments that, to me, seem out of character for a nihilist. Small things, background things, things that lead me to believe he's putting on a facade.
You're crying? Over a Morty? No, I'm just allergic to dipshits. Yo, Jerry, it's the Big R. I killed that alien that was coming after you. Looking out for you, buddy.
So despite Rick's nihilism, he seems to genuinely care about things and people. So why then does the show go out of its way to prove Rick right about everything?
Otherwise, you're just an inert chunk of randomly assembled molecules drifting wherever the universe blows you. Oh, I'm sorry, Jerry. I didn't see you there.
What? Hello?
The fact is that the show validates Rick and by extension his nihilism, even when it's played for comedy. And while Rick obviously cares yet cowers from his feelings behind a mask of nihilism, I think such subtlety and nuance is probably lost on the more, shall we say, depressive, cinematically illiterate trolls predisposed to defeatist ideologies. Now, I won't argue with the fact that if objectivity is the true nature of the universe, then it is inherently meaningless. But since when is anyone or anything objective? Humanity lives moment to moment in subjectivity. You can strive to extinguish your own biases, and it is a noble pursuit to do so. But to fall into the mental trap of believing your opinion is anything but subjective is too easy and quite damaging. Rick being right most of the time validates him when he's wrong, and when he says shitty things, there are some in the audience who take his word as gospel because they've been trained to do so. Cronenberg Earth is probably the worst offender on my scale of bad philosophies. Nihilism is one thing, but the absurd fetishization of returning to a simpler time or abandoning modern contrivances is a pernicious and damaging obsession within our culture. You might be asking yourself how a post-apocalyptic version of Earth romanticizes simpler times. Well, the answer is Jerry.
Now, bring me my slippers.
Jerry is depicted as an incompetent father who can neither provide for his family nor overcome his insecurities, except for in the Cronenberg dimension. According to the show's logic, when modern conveniences are stripped away, Jerry transforms from a useless and pathetic man-child to the capable patriarch of his family, which thrives in a horrific apocalypse under his leadership. Jerry returns to the natural human state, as defined by the show, provides for his family, and doesn't have time to even entertain his own insecurities. Do I have to explain why that's stupid? It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Do you think your grandfather suddenly had a bunch of previously undiscovered insecurities flood into his psyche after the invention of the telephone? No, we're human. That's what being human actually means. Feeling unsure and lonely and lost sometimes. To compound the issue, that's not the only time the show has stated this exact hypothesis. When Rick, Morty, and Summer went to the Mad Max dimension, the residents there were savagely maiming and killing each other in yet another post-apocalypse. When the three of them end up staying for a while, Rick introduces his inventions that provide modern conveniences. Towards the end of the episode, Buckethead, who had been an unrelenting warrior, transforms into a lethargic couch potato who vicariously lives out his bloodlust by watching sports on TV. The idea that humans have some default state that we've drifted away from or lost contact with, or worse yet, that default state would necessarily be a good thing, drives me absolutely bananas. I think we all take for granted just how good we have it. When our popular entertainment shows us depictions of the post-apocalypse, it's doing so through rose-tinted glasses. I mean, for God's sakes, how many people in The Walking Dead die from medically preventable illnesses? None! Look, what I'm trying to say is that the default state for humanity that these shows posit, that embraces the stupid adolescent Fight Club fantasies of manhood, and which frame our human proclivity for self-loathing as a modern contrivance, are flat out wrong. I'd argue that the default state of humanity hasn't changed a bit. Facebook isn't successful because it made humans want to gossip. It has merely profited from our inborn desire to do exactly that. Reality TV exists because people naturally want to watch cheap popcorn drama. Clickbait works because that's just how our brains are wired. And maybe the real message of Rick and Morty, the reason it opines for simpler times, is not because things were actually better back then. Maybe it's because the writers believe that ignorance is bliss. And I think there's a ton of evidence for that, too. As the show goes on, Jerry is shown to be stupid and bumbling, an incompetent father archetype we've seen all over popular culture. While that's a whole other topic that deserves its own rant, it's interesting to note that Jerry is the only character in the show who is mostly happy. The question is, why is Jerry happy when everyone else is miserable? Beth, Morty, and Summer all share some of Rick's intelligence, and they all, to varying degrees, wallow in a similar existential dread. Rick says that Jerry is a parasite who feeds off the sympathy of others, and I believe the only reason that explanation has any traction among the Rick and Morty fanbase is because Rick said it, and we've been conditioned to believe that Rick is right. He isn't. Jerry might not be as smart as Rick, or anyone in his family for that matter, but the central thesis of the show is that Jerry is happy because he's stupid. That's pretty cynical, honestly, and I believe there's way more to it than that. Jerry is happy because he's not afraid of failure. He continues to try even after being continually shot down.
Pretty cool, huh, Morty? Oh,
I thought it was cool.
I don't give a what you think, Jerry.
Jerry is happy because he's more or less an optimist. In contrast with other characters in the show, Jerry often tries to look at the bright side of things. Jerry is happy because he's preoccupied with the people around him. Jerry tries to be involved with his family.
Hey Rick, I have to make a project for the science fair this weekend.
Traditionally, science fairs are a father-son thing. What you doing? Watching some TV? Playing on your phone?
Is that a real question?
Making conversation.
The only time we've seen Jerry consistently miserable is during season 3, when the people that matter most to him are no longer in his life. But I think most importantly, Jerry is happy because he cares. Rick's nihilism is an all-consuming pursuit that shields him from actually dealing with his emotions. Meanwhile, Jerry seizes on the chance to make meaningful connections with his children, and he continues to try.
Want some crackers?
No, thank you.
Are you ready to be nice to me?
In exchange for crackers?
What happened to you?
Okay, so Jerry is the happiest character in the show. Cool, right? Why then is his happiness framed in such a way that he is the butt of every joke, and the show goes out of its way to shit on him? Rick constantly breaks the fourth wall. He addresses the audience, makes jokes outside the narrative context, and obviously knows that he's a character on a TV show. If Rick knows he's in a cartoon, would it not make sense that he's devised a way to have some kind of control over that show? A means of controlling the narrative. I propose that given the feats of ingenuity we've seen him achieve, Rick is not only aware he's on a TV show, but also has a decent amount of control over what we as an audience see. He sets Jerry up as a huge loser, lets his cynicism tinge Jerry's portrayal on screen, and even causes non-universe altering things to happen to Jerry.
You want my unemployment check? You can tell the difference? Jesus, okay.
I guess this is what rock bottom feels like, Jerry.
It fits with his MO. He only breaks the fourth wall as a joke, and by making a joke out of Jerry, he's still living by his joke-first way of life. The thing that really bothers me, though, is that Rick knows he's on TV. He addresses the audience directly, and much like he hates Jerry, he hates you, the audience. His fourth wall breaks are specifically designed to make a joke out of you, and I feel like he's doing a pretty good job of it.
I want Szechuan sauce. Where's my Szechuan sauce?
But what do you think? Am I thinking too much about this? Let me know down in the comments or on Twitter at @TheLinuxGamer. If you enjoyed this video, you can hit that like button or share this with your friends, and you can always subscribe to see more from me, the Linux Gamer. Thanks for watching.